Hello, my name is Dan Dolan, and I'm president of 4D Technologies, the creators and publishers of the CAD learning tools for Autodesk products. What I'm going to do is log into this CAD learning. We call it virtual, is the virtual site. And it's used for demonstrations for our clients. I'll log in because every site and every user has login credentials associated with that. We'll discuss that in a few seconds when we look at other client sites. In this particular case, I'm logged in as an administrator. And that's important to understand because you're going to see things so that the administrator can see parts of the system that a user can't see. Hidden courses, particular information that they can view regarding the usage by the student, etc. As an example, the grayed out areas down here show areas of courses that aren't available to the typical user itself. The site administrative staff has the ability to add and look at what users are doing. Everything is logged for each user activity in the system itself. It's a true course management / learning management system. We can add courses. We can look at grades. We can get reports about the system. We can modify the look and feel of the system. I can be assigned roles for users that for a teacher to do something that they can't modify or change certain courses, etc. I'm not going to go into all the administrative functions, but I want to point out initially I'm logged in as an administrator. For purposes today, I'm going to focus in on the 2013 products. And we'll use AutoCAD as the base product. Let's change that. Let's go down and let's use perhaps the Revit architecture course, if I could find it on here. Nope, we'll use AutoCAD. Simpler, easier to get to. As mentioned, as an administrator, I'm seeing information that a user wouldn't see. Again, administrative functions here. But the main reason I logged in as administrator, I wanted to show this part, feature, or function of our systems. Every lesson we create has metadata associated with that, and that's a very important feature. That metadata looks like this, perhaps a file name, a true file name, and keywords or topics associated with that lesson. The instructor has part of their process is to identify the topics, keywords that would be associated with that particular lesson if a user were to search on it. This particular lesson happens to be associated with the beginner portion, beginner, intermediate, and advanced. And by the way, our course covers all three of these facets in the one course. Certified user, certified associate. You'll see certain particular topics or keywords with that. I'm going to step backwards. I'm going to switch the role to the student, make it a little bit cleaner so you can now experience what the typical user would see. And I want to point out a number of features that are a part of every course we create. Every course has exercise files associated with it. Those are the files that the instructor used as they presented, demonstrated the system. Exercise file reference guide, which associates those files with each particular lesson for the user to figure out with lesson XYZ, which exercise file should I use. Every course has lessons making up that course with a time associated with it, 1 minute and 40 seconds, 5 minutes and 13 seconds as an example, broken up into a chapter. At the end of every chapter is a chapter review, and we're going to try a couple of these. And every course has a skills assessment and knowledge assessment associated with the overall course, not just the chapter, but the complete course itself. I equate these two different quizzes to the Autodesk Certified Associate / Certified User exam, basically testing their knowledge, their retention. The other, the skills assessment, is like the Autodesk Professional Certification exam. They're required to use the Autodesk product to derive their answer asked as a part of the question. I equate this to getting your driver's license for a car or your pilot's license for flying. You've got generally reading material that you then have to take a written exam, and then you have to take the flying exam or the driving exam with the instructor. Can I really fly this piece of software? Can I really drive this piece of software? And that's where the professional exam comes in. If I were to watch a given video, the user will select that particular video. I'll blow the screen up to full screen. And it's going to go out and find that.
AutoCAD provides an online help system that you can use to find information about most features and
The
functions.
user can fast forward,
And then either
rewind,
button.
pause it, minimize it, and go off and try what the instructor has showed them using the instructor files that are provided as a part of the system. Every lesson is designed that same way. And you can see that there's multiples that make it up. In this particular version of the AutoCAD course, there's about 730 lessons, I believe is the number. I do know the course is over 47 hours in length if you watch it from start to finish, not even touching the exercise files. If I provide the exercise files, you'll see that it's going to take longer for that student. At the end of each chapter is a chapter review quiz. We're going to take one of those. I'll just select chapter 3. And it's going to say, let's take the review quiz. And it's going to have questions. And these are true, valid questions that the instructors have created. For this purpose today, I'm just going to randomly select answers to these particular questions. You may know the answer very quickly. What do they always say? C is always the correct. I'm going to randomly select them. A, B, C, D, whatever it might be. Graphics associated with it. And before this is over, I'll show you what the skills assessment looks like so that you'll understand how it relates to the professional exam. Oops, there's C, D, A. I don't remember how many questions are in this particular exam. Don't know that I've taken it previously. And you see that randomly, probably wouldn't know the answer anyway. But I'm going to submit that and say to the system, yes, I've taken it. I got 6 out of 14. That's pretty lucky guessing. Got the first one correct, second one correct. Went downhill from there. Oop, got one correct. Well, that's neat, but the most important is the system will create and recommend a new remedial course, a new course for that student based upon the incorrect answers. As we create the quizzes and tests, part of the feedback to the incorrect answers associates back to the lessons themselves using that metadata. Here are the lessons that the system has said I should study to successfully pass that exam. I can also show those lessons in the context of the overall chapter. Highlighted lessons are those that it says I should watch. Those that aren't either were answered correctly in the quiz or were not a part of the quiz. The user can save that for review later on. The user will have the ability with their curriculums to come out and look at that in the evening, later on that day, next week, whenever it might be, whenever it's convenient for them. But the intent is to focus on what they don't know, not what they already do know, trying to get to success quicker. Let's try something a bit different here. Let's just say that I'm an instructor, or I'm a CAD manager, or I'm a help desk person. For that matter, I could be a user. And I want to be able to have a lunch and learn tomorrow. And that lunch and learn is going to cover a couple of different topics from a couple of different products. Let's assume the products might be 3D Studio Max. And by the way, I'm going to hold the control key down so I can select multiple products. But I'll select 3D Studio Max, hold the control key down. And I'm going to use AutoCAD 2013 again. And I'm also going to go down to, let's say Revit Architecture 2013. And I'm going to have some topics, and the first one might be color, something to do with 3D Studio Max. And I might have OSNAP, something to do with AutoCAD, or it could be all of them. I could have family, something to do with Revit. Based upon those 3 topics, and the fact I've selected 3 courses, let's build a mini course for that user because he has some time to learn something today, for that instructor because I've had a lunch and learn or whatever it might be, class, here's what we covered today, quiz tomorrow. Or, here's what we're going to cover tomorrow, please review these tonight so that we can get into the class a bit quicker tomorrow morning. The system generated this. No OSNAP with 3D Studio Max. Well, that's true. No families in 3ds Max, but here are the lessons associated with color. No family in AutoCAD, but there must be OSNAP and must be color. Well, there's some things that I need to know there. And within the Revit architecture, no OSNAP, but there is color and there is family. Let's name this course something different. We'll call it Revit 2020. Getting way out there. Let's save it. And when I do save that, notice it's saving up there. Under my curriculums, I can come out and look at that. And as an instructor, as a help desk person, I could send this to my class. And those who have subscriptions to the learning content will now receive this and be able to review it. So I've created a special course for that user, for those users, for the class. I can use this to talk about suites in an ATC environment. How can I meld and create special courses for the individuals using this? That's one way, absolutely one way of doing it. Let's talk about a couple other things. Let's just see what some other clients have done. DC CAD, you're going to hear more about them in a few minutes, is an ATC in the United States. Sprunt Media is an ATC in London who have adopted or adapted our tools as a part of their client offering. CADLearning Group in the Netherlands has been using our product for a number of years, offering to their clients. They're an ATC. Starbucks. Interesting. Why would Starbucks, I'm going to log into their site, why would Starbucks want to use these products? Well, they happen to use, I better have a correct login. There we go. In their particular case, they use Revit to design all of their stores worldwide. They've got multiple designers. In fact, they've taken additional licenses that they want to provide to their consultants who work with them on creation of these store designs. They've also added course material of their own, unique to what they do in areas that we don't provide tools for them. A lead course, proposed order reports, PDF creator. These are additional knowledge, bits of information they want out there to provide to not only their users, but the consultants as well. Look at Skidmore, Owens & Merrill, SOM, an international architectural firm with offices in London, Shanghai, Chicago, New York City, San Francisco. This is their site, their knowledge center. So it's not only used by schools, but by corporations, but by ATCs to provide learning content for their users and or their clients. Let's come back to where we were at before. And when I come to here, I get a little bit lost. One thing that I do want to show very quickly, actually two things. The ability for an administrator of a site, you as an ATC manager, to be able to look at and monitor what students are doing. You can look at individual users, look at all of the lessons that they have taken, look at the quizzes they've taken, see the scores. So I've got this ability to monitor with the student to assist them going forward. If I go back to the course, and I've talked about AutoCAD, I want to show one more thing related to the assessments and quizzes, specifically the quiz skills assessment. If I were to select that, you'll see in this particular case where it says open a drawing, the file name, the instructor files, do something with that. Open a different one, do something with that. If you're familiar with the Autodesk Certified Professional Exam, you'll be familiar with this.